coming in here. So basically what this is, has anybody used GarageBand before? A little bit? No one else? So you're not familiar with it? Okay, this comes like when you get your Mac laptop or anything desktop, it'll come with it. Some stuff, we had to actually download it, so that was the thing. So I don't have all the sounds in here, so I'm kind of like just going off what came with it, basically. And so I'll just give you a basic rundown of what I'm working with here. So this is just empty track. I did throw some stuff in here. So each one of these is a track. So it could be drums, guitar, bass, all that type of stuff going down. You can put depends on how big your computer is to run it. You could do, I've gone up to 24 tracks, even more than that. Depending on what it'll heavy load, it might not run. It'll glitch out at some point, depending on what you're doing. Today, I'm just kind of using loops. So that's already built in. You can download thousands of stuff in there. So that's easy to do. And basically what you do, and these are all, the loops are based in just sections. They're called regions, but they're just broken up. So they can be 4 bars, 8 bars, 16, 32. And you can actually, mess with these. When I get to the one I just made a little bit ago, so I'll show you how to cut some of this up so you can make something with it. Some of these drums, I'm just going to use a couple different drum sets. There's funk, you can do all kinds of different things. Depends on what you want. This is kind of a rock one, just 4/4, not going anything crazy. But as you can see, like on the right-hand side, that's where all my loops lives. So I can just turn them on and off, and then I can just play with whatever I have here. For the loops, you just come in here, and what you can do, I'm going to clear everything out, so it's just showing me everything. I can pick an instrument, so I could get an electric piano. Go in here, okay, 70s electric piano. Gives you a little taste of it there. And so you can just go through some of these. Oh, I don't want that one, that type of thing. So you can go through everything in these loops. You can also do genres. Those aren't, for what you have here, they're a little difficult. They really are, because it'll be all over the map. Depends on what it is, but they do have genres, like urban, whatever you want, electronic, different things like that. And it also has descriptors. So it's showing like, a single, so it could be just a single snare hit. So you could have that, or just a stab, like horn, beep, that's it. And so it would do that. So you can pull through all that kind of stuff if you want. The other way to get in here, which I don't have here since I just kind of did this, is you can plug in a guitar. So you have to have a dongle or something to go in here, which is a DAW. It's just an interface, just USB usually, or now they're, more wire, the C they're coming to, but there's all kinds. So when I started out with, bottom of the barrel, $100. I can it's a little box, has one channel, goes right in, turn it up. You can use headphones to like when you're doing vocals or anything like that. So it's isolated, so you're not recording through a mic everywhere, that type of thing. You can use this, and right before I came in, I looked it up and I was like, who used GarageBand to write hits? Okay, so Rihanna wrote Umbrella. Do you know that tune?
What?
So she wrote it on this.
Crazy.
So whoever producer was, I've gone like the first album or whatever you want to say I did on this. I just used GarageBand completely. I used the drums and everything. The only problem is it's not giving you a real groove. There's no tempo shift. So this is a computer. It's a robot. And there is a way to kind of manipulate it, but it's very difficult. So when you listen to today's music, that's all on a grid. So a lot of that stuff, like let's say Sweet 98 or one of those, or even Umbrella, that's probably to a robot, a drum set or something that's just going bam, bam, bam. And you can sync that up. There's a guy out there, have you ever heard of Rick Beato? Anybody? Okay. So he'll run down through stuff. And I watched him one time, he goes, why doesn't this feel right? Like this kind of stuff. Like if I'm just doing this, because a real band would have tempo shifts. So it might be just very slight, 1 or 2 degrees above or below. Like he did AC/DC. And that was weird, me listening to that and watching it go. And then they dip. And then they come back up. And so a real band will have that feel to it. So these drums or whatever you're doing here, it's locked into a grid. And so you're getting a robot feel to it. But there's ways to manipulate it. Other ways, so just a little backstory. So I have 8 tunes I have right now. And I went through them. I recorded in Logic, which is a little step up from GarageBand, but it's like full on studio quality. But the drums don't feel right. And I took it to my engineer because I'm going to have him produce, do all this stuff. And he goes, "You need a real drummer." And so I just I recorded all the tracks. And then on the end of this month, on the 24th, I'm going into a studio here in Omaha, just having a drummer play all my stuff. So where it is, I've got a click track. So he knows where he needs to hit. And I've already recorded. He can listen. And he'll just record all real drums to what I'm doing. So there's ways to get around all kinds of stuff in here, But let me get back to this part. So basically what you're doing here is I'm finding I'm going to want to do the drums first, okay? So I just preloaded this. And so you can hear I'm getting the count in. Sorry. So it's just your main old, 4 on the floor, just hitting it one-on-one. And so I'm like, okay, that's decent. We'll just start with that. But now I want something else. Do I want this piano? So I'm just testing this out. So I'll just hit it up here. I'm going to go through a little bit of the technical stuff. So what I'm doing here is cycling this. So you see this where it pops up. So now I can just go, okay, I'm just going to focus on this, these measures. So now I can just hit this. And it'll just loop through that over and over. Sorry, that's a little loud. It's okay. I got it. So you can control the volume here. There's another way to do it. So I'll show you that. So I'm hitting A. Hopefully. Oh, no. Here we go. So now you see it grayed out, but now I have a volume. So I'm saying, I like this piano, but it's too loud. But I want it soft at the beginning, but I want it loud a little bit later. So what I'm doing with this is just adding the volume. So, and I'll show you real quick how that works. See, and that just pulls it up a little bit. So I'm just manipulating that little bit of it and just doing this. You can do this with multiple things. So you can actually come in here and I want to put a compressor on here just for that section. And you could add a suppressor. And so where that section is, I have highlighted, it'll put a compressor. So then it would go smash the sound. So it'll get real small. Or you can do other types of things. You can pan, which is the stereo. We're not going to get the stereo out of here. I'd show you. Right. You get a little bit, but what it'll do, I can make it go left or right. So like Pink Floyd, they're doing that with real time, but you hear it going all the way like that. So you're getting a stereo feel to it. Some of the modern stuff, like synthesizers, you can have pans going like this constantly, or electronica music. You'll hear it just, you're like, how the hell is that going on? And it's just shifting back and forth real quick between left and right. So it gives you that warbly or whatever going all over the place. So that's how you can control the volume through different types of interfaces, getting in here, or the pan, or like I said, you can put other effects. I want just this region to have the compressor, or you can make it sound like it's in a cave, something like that. So you can do all types of things like that. So I'll get back to this. So what else do we want on here? We got a little piano, a little loud. Let's see. Do we want a guitar? I don't know. Here. We'll see.
You got a rhythm guitar?
Yep. Let's see. We'll pick instrument. An electric guitar?
I said rhythm.
Rhythm?
Specific, guitar with the melody or the rhythm.
Yep. So.
But you've already got the piano pull the melody.
So there's a little bit of rhythm. Let's see what we got. We'll try one of these. I'm just going to give it a little bit. We'll test it out. This is what time consuming, just like anything. Testing, going, is this going to work for it? It's all right. We'll use that. We'll see what else we got here. That's not bad. We'll pull that one in. And here's the thing. So I got one track already. If I want to save my tracks, I can pull multiple like loops into the same track if I want to. Or if I want to control it more, I can throw it on a different track. So it depends on how you want to work and space saving. And this is when you end up with 50 tracks. It's like, oh, I want all this stuff going. You can end up with too much. So I'm just basically, I can throw it back on here and we'll see what it does. So I'm just going to throw it at the end here, start it over. It doesn't quite line up. It depends on the loop itself. You can see right at the beginning here, it's got a little break.
Yep.
So sometimes they're not going to work. I'm not going to do it here, but you go ahead.
You do MIDI programming at all?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll have to look at this because I don't know what it's loaded for the loops because some of them are MIDI. Actually, so what you can do is go into here. Here's all loops.
Oh, MIDI, yeah.
And so I'll show you. I'll just say MIDI loops. We'll see if anything's in here. Okay, so it's got some, depends on what it is. We'll see what instruments. So it's not showing any guitars, which kind of makes sense. That's more of an audio, where piano and stuff, those are all MIDI. So at home, I have a keyboard. Doesn't do anything, but I can trigger. So that's basically what it's called, is I'm triggering that sound. So any of the MIDI stuff, we'll throw in here and see what it does. That's a little weird. Here, we'll try a synth. There we go.
Yeah, we're doing
this.
100%.
Yeah. We'll wait here. We'll give it some time to build up.
Oh,
See
yeah.
that? I'll get to that in a second. But, okay, we'll throw a few more sounds in here, and then we'll talk, like, structure. That's kind of neat. Okay. So, since you asked about MIDI, this is how you can control some of this. So some of the drums I work with too, I've bought them. And so I can load a drum program, which is third party, pull it in here, and all it's doing, I can tell it, hey, so I bought an expansion pack. I like the Black Keys. I love the sound of the drums for the Black Keys. So I downloaded his pack. He played them all, and then they make them into MIDI files.
Cool.
And so I can dump them in here. Sounds just like his drums. It's freaking amazing. I was stunned because I was like $120. I don't know. I get it, and I was like, wow, this sounds really like his drums. And so then I can go in, this isn't the drums, but then I can manipulate any of these little patterns. So I can go in here and everything that's coming. So it's just giving one. So, but all this is a chord, when they're built together. I'm not telling. So that's just that piece here. I'll just solo that one. And we'll have solo here. Let's see. There we go. Okay. We'll just mess with that for a second, and then I'll show you how this works. So let's see how it's hitting every one of those. So now I'm like, I don't know. I don't want those first few chords. I just want a couple. So I come in here. So now I'm like, I just want the one to hit when I start. So I'm deleting those. So we'll go back here. So you can sit here and manipulate it. I can change the key with this also. So this is at a certain key. Right now it's C major, it says. So I can change this. I'm like, okay, I know some chords, and I can change this to whatever I want. All right, this is my left. So now I want it down an octave. So it's endless what you can sit there and the time spent, just messing around with this stuff. So we'll just see what it sounds like with the rest of it. It's cheesy, but we're getting there. I mean, you're just adding stuff. And sometimes I will spend hours and I go, I hate it all. As you progress, that's just the way it goes. It's like even you're making a program or any of the technology stuff, you like, I've gotten this far and now it doesn't work out and I'll have to start over. It's no big deal. Okay. So some other things you can do with this, and then I'll for a little bit I'll show you like my the one I did right beforehand. And what I gave a talk. Sorry, I gotta go back. So what I gave a talk here for a lightning talk, and I was trying to do a banging tune within 10 minutes is what I said. It took me way longer than that. It's very difficult. You know, like I thought I could. I did it the night before, going, okay, I can do this and put it together in front of people. Well, I didn't realize how much effort I put in the night before. I wasn't watching myself, like the timing I was doing, and it took me like 2 hours. Because it sounded cool. I was like, oh, I got to show this. I got to show that. And I just kept building on it. But the whole thing was like, you can do this. Like I did it. The one I'll show you, I did that in 45 minutes, kind of. But I want to show a little bit more of this because there's tons of instruments and different things. So here's another one. So I got this in 116. So it shows all the information up there. So that's the tempo. So we're 116. I feel like this is still fast. So I can come up here and now I'm going to make it 96. So now we'll go back.
Oh, wow.
Let's see. And you can manipulate all this and just, okay, that's not really doing it for me either. Let's get in between. So I'll do a 106. So I'm a 10, the tempo, bring it down 10. Okay, that sounds a little bit more like it to me.
That's a CPR beat. Yeah. You see the lights.
Let's see, what else? We need a real bass on here. So, yeah. So we'll get it off. I got to take it off the MIDI so we can find them all. So now you can see, now the guitars and bass and all that, which is more rhythmic or, more audio type. So here we go, bass. And we'll do electric bass. So we'll find some. What do we need here? Now, okay, I like that. So I'll pull this in there. So what I was saying earlier, I'm trying to make this quick here. My bad. Okay, so you can just drag and drop. So I'm just duplicating this basically. There's different ways to do it. I'm just holding down and just grabbing that thing. So I was like, okay, I want this next bass to break up. So I'm going to go in here and let's say every quarter. So I'm going to take this and now, see, I just broke it and I just basically am clipping it. Just like you would with scissors. That's basically, there's a tool that will let you do this. So I'm just going to break this up. I'm going to take the first one out and the third. We'll leave it there.
Yeah.
But you can see, you can quickly do this. A lot of time, I'll do that with a lot of different things, even my own stuff. Like if I'm playing a guitar and I'm like, oh, that doesn't work, I can go in and just manipulate that. This program doesn't let you do multiple takes. You have to do tracks. Like if I wanted to play the guitar like 4 times, there's different ways to do it. I have 4 different tracks, and then I can edit each one of those and put one together and make that my main one.
Oh.
The Logic one, that's where it's more pro. I can do 100 takes and sit there and look at them all and go, oh, I heard something wrong, and I can clip it. That's where you can just edit everything to death and just do whatever you want. The last 5 minutes I got here, I'll show you. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'll show you what I did. So I just told myself I'm going to make it under a minute so I don't get too crazy here. So I just went in here. You can tell, you can also color code these. Sorry, I'm kind of going all over the place so you can see them a little bit better. Like when I go in here, this is the big mess. So I just color code them so I can see everything that's going on, naming them right. But here we go. I'm going to play you this 1 minute and then I'll talk about it in less. All right.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is kind of, I did this just so I can show some structure too. I didn't do a whole lot. If I did a real song, I would break it up, and up here, let's see if this has it. It doesn't. You can put like sections, so I make a little section and tell it what it was. Intro, chorus, break it up like that. So that's what I'm doing basically. Here's my intro. I'm getting in here. This first section is counting. Just like any song you hear, there's a structure. So like Toxic by Britney Spears. That's one of my top 10 bangers.
Sure.
And Max Martin, he's written so many top 10 tunes for all these artists. There's actually written I went in and just looked at how he structures things. He's got 3 things, but it ain't all work. And it's just like your brain is so in tune to that kind of thing, his structure. And so that's where I kind of like to make a template and just go, here's the intro, here's this, here's this, here's this. There's very little variables, but that formula works. And it's scientifically proven. I watched a guy talk, he breaks it down and you go, oh, that hook. And now today's songs, old songs, they were 5 minutes long on the radio. Now they're 2.5 minutes. It's the society, it's just the way we evolve. The Beatles, when they start out, 2.5 minutes. Now we went the other, now we're back to that. Pop tunes, they're super quick, but there's a structure and a way to do this. And so that's kind of what I wanted you to do with this. So let's say this is my intro. This would be my verse. And then here's my chorus, and here's my end. And so you kind of saw how that, I did it real short, within a minute, you can still do it, but intro, not a whole lot going on. That's just kind of how all the intros go. You heard something today, and then they'll start it with a verse. So, and then we come into another verse. There's a different variation. It's the same thing, but just a little variation. And then when we get to a chorus, so now, this is where you can tell where the bass changes. So now we're getting with the bass. I was stunned. I watched the band Kansas City, watching the bass player. He led the band. I love the singer. That's what I was there for. And then I nonstop watched the bass player. He led the band. It's just funny how that works, Bass change. And so it totally takes a different emotional change to it. So that's kind of what I end with is the structure of it. Basically, that's how most of this works. Like I said, 45 minutes and you have a little tune. Anything you want, and it's a blast. It was funny when I gave the talk here, all of a sudden then I heard all this people pulling out their laptops, messing around.
Yeah.
So that was kind of it. Yeah.
Chronic Windows user here.
Yeah.
Can you download GarageBand?
Yes, you can. It'll work on there too. Yeah, there's a Windows version.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's free too?
I believe so. Yeah, GarageBand's free. So Logic, the other one, I wanted to give a talk, but I didn't have enough time because they actually, you can ask for a question. I just wanted to say this. So they integrated AI into it. And at first I was talking about it to a few people. I was like, no more AI, it's the bane of artists somewhat. So I get it. And I was a little resistant. And then I was just like, hold on a second. Let me try this out. Within 2 weeks, I'd already written 2 tunes because it made it. I'm just a bedroom artist for the most part. I write all the stuff, played all the instruments, that type of thing. And this made it so easy for me to pull out my guitar or piano and just go, okay, I like this chord structure, throw it in there. It can read it for me. So it says, oh, I know you're in C major, now you're in a B flat. And it will follow it. And I can write a bass line and tell it to be more intense or more, not as, play more notes, less notes, play only root notes, play octave. I was just like, and I sat there and I went, wow, now I can write these tunes and then learn from them and sit down with an actual bass guitar now. That it helped me write this. So it'd be like me just having a band with me,
Right.
almost, and just going, all right, I'm going to play this, and you start playing with me. And then they, oh my God, all right, yeah, that's cool. And then you just kind of mess around with it. Sorry, I just wanted to let the AI part, yeah.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Any other questions?
How do you capture from like a guitar? How do you capture it?
Yeah, so you can, there's like a little teeny dongle called an iRig. So if it's an acoustic guitar, you can just, electric guitar, you can plug it right into this and right into this. So you don't need an external DAW like a control. You can plug it right into there. But like an acoustic guitar, you can still do it, but you need a mic. So I like that type of thing. I'll set up a mic, and then you have to wear headphones. Otherwise, there's bleed through, like any sound that I'm hearing or anything like that, or talking. So I'll just microphone it, and then it'll get in there. It'll come in this type of waves, not the MIDI. You can take the waves and make them MIDI, but it'll make the notes kind of go all over. You got to go in there and manipulate it. Anything else? I know I'm just about done here.
How do you track drums then?
What's that?
Just mic up all your drums if you want to do drums.
Yeah, if you want to do live drums, you mic them up. And I've done a whole drum set with 2 mics. This sounds freaking amazing. It just depends on what you want to do. Yep.
You're all good.
Sweet. Nailed it. Thanks, everybody.
Well,
Thank you.